the political situation. But again, look, you do have a situation when this whole thing started where you had 800,000 Jewish refugees that came out of all the different Middle Eastern countries, and you had 800,000 roughly Palestinian refugees. And what's happened to the Jewish refugees is they've been absorbed by different places, whereas the Arab world has not absorbed a lot of these refugees over time. And so, this situation exists, because it exists. And, and when we put out a political solution, we're going to try to put forward the best proposed solutions that we think are and viable in this day and age. It's very easy on this file to find reasons why we shouldn't do something, and maybe that's why it's stood in place for so long. But I think that the people of Lebanon would love to see a resolution to this issue, one that's fair. And I also think that the refugees, the Palestinian refugees who are in Lebanon, who are denied a lot of rights and who don't have the best conditions right now, would also like to see a situation where there's a pathway for them to have more rights and to live a better life. So we'll address that when we get to the political plan.
All right, we'll take another question from the Arabic side. Mohammed Abdullah Ali of Egypt TV asks, does the peace plan include the establishment of economic projects for the Palestinians in the Sinai? And what is the role of Egypt in the peace plan?
Right. So right now, there's no projects for the Palestinians in the Sinai. The Sinai belongs to Egypt, and it's up to Egypt to do in the Sinai what they're going to want to do there. Look, President Sisi's been a great friend to President Trump, and he's been somebody who's given us a lot of advice. He's not shy with his points of view, and so he has a very strong opinions. He obviously doesn't want to have terrorism or conflict. He believes very strongly in religious tolerance and respect for each other, and he really wants to see people have economic opportunity, like he's worked very hard to create in Egypt. So he's done that. He's very focused on the core religious issues, and he's given us some advice on that. And he has a very strong point of view, and he cares a lot about the Palestinian people. But he also wants to see the region become stable, and he recognizes that it's something that will take courageous leadership from everybody to try and make a breakthrough, and we'll see what we're able to do with that.
All right, our next question is from Yusuf Al-Ustaz of Al-Zad TV.
And that line is open. Please proceed with your question.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for this opportunity. Many times you mentioned for the Palestinian leadership. My question is, do you still see the Palestinian leadership and especially the President Abbas are like a partner in the peace process from the U.S. administration point of view?
So, look, I have a lot of respect for President Abbas. I think that he's devoted his life to trying to make peace, and I think that he's had a couple setbacks along the way, right? So losing Gaza was a setback for him through Hamas. He's had a couple attempts at peace processes where he was close, or maybe he was close, maybe he wasn't close, but what happened was there were leaks, there was distrust, and it didn't happen for whatever reason. I do believe in his heart that he wants to make peace, and my hope is that we're able to give him an opportunity to try and achieve that. Look, we've the one way that we've approached this process, which maybe has been different from how people have approached it in the past, is number one is we try not to make the same mistakes that have been made before us. So we've definitely taken a different approach than has been done, but we're not going to get into the same tired discussions that lead to nowhere, which is, quite frankly, what a lot of the efforts over the last 5, 6, 7 years led to. There was nothing that got really that close because, quite frankly, I think the parties had grown too far apart on a lot of these issues. So we're not looking to do it the same way. Number two is we're trying to build a rational foundation, a very detailed foundation. So, you see how detailed the economic plan that we've put out is, and when you see the actual peace plan document, it's just as detailed, and it's a very technical document that will go through how the Palestinians and Israelis can coexist in the most constructive way, where there's security, there's tolerance, there's opportunity and dignity, and for both people, and we think that it's the most rational, defensible set of proposals. And so, if you're coming into this conflict and you have no context on kind of the way that the technocrats have historically spoken about these issues, and you read the document we're putting out, you'll say this is highly logical, it makes a lot of sense, and it's a real pathway forward that could help improve people's lives and lead to a more stable, safer, more prosperous region in this area, which has so much potential. As I think we were able to exhibit from the workshop, is that there is a ton of potential if we're courageous enough, and if we're optimistic enough, and if we're smart enough, and if we work hard enough to try and achieve it. So I think that what we've done also is we haven't allowed the process to be hijacked by people who have not been successful with it. So again, I think that President Abbas has certain people around him who are very uncomfortable with the way that we've approached this, and their natural instinct is to attack and to say crazy things, and quite frankly, we don't find that to be terribly constructive. So I think we've been very steady in the way that we've approached it. We've continued to be thoughtful. We've continued to be meticulous. We've continued to do our work, and we haven't lost sight of our goal, which is to figure out how to put forward the best set of proposals that we think can help give both the Israeli and the Palestinian people the opportunity to live a better life. Again, I hope that as we continue to progress, our door is always open to the Palestinian people, to the Palestinian leadership. Again, President Trump is very fond of President Abbas. He likes him very much personally. And, at the right time, if they're willing to engage, I believe that they'll find that they'll have an opportunity. Whether they're willing to take that opportunity will be up to them. But what we're trying to do in our role in this is create an opportunity for both the Israelis and the Palestinians to potentially resolve a conflict that has been unresolved for too long. If people want to find reasons not to resolve it, it's very easy to do that. This has been something that's been stuck for a very long time. There's a lot of emotion. There's a lot of issues that are hard to resolve. But again, resolving, making peace and making progress requires compromise, and it requires courage, and it requires leadership. And so, again, I think that we've spent 2 years trying to, create a logical foundation, create a very strong point of view, cut through a lot of the things that have made this not achievable in the past. And I think that we're trying to create an opportunity for the leadership of both the Israelis and the Palestinians to create a more peaceful, harmonious, and prosperous future for their people. And if they're interested in that, then they'll engage. If not, we'll have done our job of putting this forward in a thoughtful way. But we're also not allowing some of these old, tired ways of thinking about this that have not led to results get in the way.
All right, our next question we've received from Bassam Abu Aid of the Ma'a Media Network. He asks, in the event of a security incident, Israel's reaction will destroy the economic plan. How can this be avoided? And are there any contacts with the Palestinian Authority or Hamas?
So, again, on your second question, I'm not going to go into one thing about me is people know that I talk to a lot of people, but one of the reasons why I've been able to, I think, get a lot of interesting points of view from people is that I don't disclose who I talk to, so I'm not going to do that. But I will say that again, the reason why we were able to put forward a detailed economic vision is because we were able to get great input from a lot of amazing people on all sides of this conflict who have been willing to engage with us. And the fact that it has not been disclosed who those people are has given them more confidence to continue to engage with us. We've done the same thing on the political plan. We've tried to get as many smart points of view as possible and then come up with the best ways to put forward solutions based on listening to all the different points of view from a lot of people who we respect. The point you make about the conflict is exactly the point, which is that people don't want to put good money after bad money. And so that's why, again, if we get a peace agreement, then the money is willing to come in. If we don't get a peace agreement, then the money is not willing to come in. And so people have been doing this now, for decades. And quite frankly, it's just, at some point you have to get tired of doing the same thing over and getting no results. I mean, I think they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And I just think that that's not a way that we're looking to approach it. So the answer is that, we're not looking to make investments unless there's actually an environment where people believe that the investments will have the ability to have impact and both in the short, medium, and long term. Let's take one more question. I think we're at the end of the time.
Our last question will be from Heba El-Qudsi of Sharq Al-Awsat.
Good morning, Mr. Kushner. I have two questions. Do you have a timeline plan for starting this kind of project in Palestine and Egypt and other countries? And the second question, there were a lot of criticism that the economic plan didn't mention anything about the two-state solution. What's your thoughts about, or what's your answer about this kind of criticism?
So I appreciate you asking those questions, because the fact that you're still asking these questions means that people may not be getting what I've been saying. But let me be explicitly clear about what our intention was. The goal of the workshop was to lay out an economic plan for what could happen in the region in the event there is a political solution. There is no plan to make these investments before achieving a political solution. There is no plan to make these investments before achieving political progress. And then with regard to the economic plan, it was meant to be